Good day everyone, my name is Noor Fashalia and today I'm going to talk about the concept of privatization and its key impact, particularly in the Malaysia context. To begin, privatization is simply the process of transferring activity and function that are traditionally run by the government over to the private sector. There are three main reasons why this is done. First, it acts as an economic catalyst. By moving sectors like port and power to private hands, they become highly competitive and productive, which boosts our overall infrastructure. Second, it provides financial relief. It saves the government billions in spending, helping to reduce public debt and balance the budget. Finally, it creates a social and future pivot. It let the government focus on healthcare and education while private companies take over research and development. Now, let's move on to the next point.
My name is Arisha Umaira and I will explain issues, costs and benefits. Before privatization, the Malaysian government wanted to reduce costs and improve public service efficiency. In 1987, the telecommunication sector was privatized, making Malaysia the first Asian country to introduce major telecommunications reforms. These reforms help modernize communication service and support national development. Next, privatization helped reduce the government's financial burden because some responsibilities and operational costs were transferred to private companies. It also improved efficiency and service quality, especially in the telecommunication sector. After the reforms, telephone and mobile phone usage increased rapidly, showing better access to communication service. Besides that, privatization support infrastructure development such as highways, which help improve transportation, trade and tourism activities. Government-linked companies like Telekom Malaysia also recorded better productivity and higher profits after privatization. However, privatization also creates several issues. One major issue is the increase in service charge and toll rates because private companies focus on making profits. Some sectors were also controlled by only a few large companies, causing monopoly and limited competition. Besides that, rural areas sometimes receive less attention compared to urban areas. Privatization also affects workers because restructuring and downsizing cause job insecurity and concerns about employee welfare. Next, the main objective of Malaysia's privatization policy was to reduce the financial and administrative burden of the government. Before privatization was introduced, the government had to spend a large amount of money to manage public service and government-owned companies. Therefore, privatization was implemented to transfer certain responsibilities to the private sector so that the government could focus more on national development and public welfare. Besides that, the policy also aimed to improve efficiency and the quality of public services. Private companies were expected to provide better management, modern technology, and faster service compared to government agencies. For example, sectors such as telecommunications and highways experienced rapid development after privatization. Another objective was to encourage economic growth and increase private sector participation in the economy. Through privatization, the government hoped to attract more investment, create job opportunities, and strengthen Malaysia's competitiveness in the global market. In addition, the policy aimed to support national development by improving infrastructure and expanding public services throughout the country. Overall, privatization was introduced to create a more efficient, competitive, and modern economy while reducing the government's financial responsibilities.
Hi, moving to me again, Nurfasha Alia. Now, let's look at the actor involved in privatization. First, we have the government and public actor. They are the one who designing the plan. The executive branch give the political green light and force the bureaucracy to move. The finance ministry look after the money, make sure we reduce national debt and generate capital. And the line ministry being in the technical, everyday expertise for their specific sector. Second, we have civil society and societal actors. They act as a safeguard for the public. Labor unions and employees protect worker rights and fight against downsizing or job cut. The broader public care about how this affects the daily life, especially regarding utility price and serving quality for things like water and power. Finally, NGO and consumer group act as a watchdog to ensure total transparency and fairness. Let's look at how the group interact on the next slide.
My name is Nurjanatul Aina, and I will explain about the implementation of privatization policy. First one is sale of equity. This method applies to government companies, and it involves an act of transfer of management responsibility, assets, and workers. Basically, the government sells its company share to other business. With this, government can earn money and lessen their burden to focus on other important things, while the company will have a better management under the new private owners. Sale of equity has two types, which is partial sale and complete sale. For partial sale, government sells parts of its shares to the private party. Meanwhile, for complete sale, government sells all of its shares to the private party. Examples of this method are Tenaga Nasional Berhad, Malaysian Airline System, and Sports Toto Malaysia. Second is public-private partnership master plan 2030, or PICAS 2030 for short. PICAS is the government's long-term plan created by the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. This plan was created around 2023 and was created because and was created in order to work together with private companies so that big projects like schools, hospitals, highways, and infrastructures can be built faster and better without the government having to pay for everything alone. This plan was created because government doesn't have enough money to build people's need. So with partnering together with private companies, both sides get their shares of benefit. The goal is to improve economic growth, create job opportunity, attract investment, and to have better services. The third one is list of assets. This method involves uh, rent, renting renting the government assets for a period of time in return for payments. Basically, the private company rent the government assets and they have to pay it back afterwards, after a period of time. This method lets the government keep their ownership. The period of payments depends on the type of project and is usually applicable to fixed assets that are large, such as airports and seaports. There are some examples, like Port Klang. The lease period of the project is 21 years, and the Highway Plus is 28 years. The lease rental payments are based on how much money the asset is expected to make over time, and it is calculated from the income and expenses during the period. Meanwhile, for the new government agencies turned into companies, the first 5 years may have low rent to have them start.
However, it will be adjusted to market rates. An example of this method, National Heart Institute. That's all from me. I will pass it to my friend.
Hi, my name is Noorani Sofia binti Shukur, and today I will be presenting the SWOT analysis and conclusion of privatization. First, let's look at the strengths of privatization. Privatization improves work efficiency because private companies usually manage service more effectively. It also helps reduce government spending since the government does not need to fully finance certain services. In addition, privatization encourages better management and help modernize public service through improved technology and systems. Next are the weaknesses. One weakness is that political issue and favoritism may occur during the privatization process. Some companies also experience financial problems after privatization. In certain situations, the government still had to provide financial assistance to these companies. Furthermore, privatization does not also guarantee better performance. Now, let's discuss the opportunities. Privatization provides more opportunities for private companies and local business to grow. It encourages investment and business expansion while also bringing better technology and modernization. As a result, more jobs and business opportunities can be created. However, there are also threats. Public service costs may increase after privatization. Some companies may focus more on profit rather than public welfare. The government may also have less control over important service. If a privatized company fails, it can negatively affect the public and the economy. In conclusion, privatization can improve efficiency and contribute to economic growth. Private companies play an important role in supporting national development. However, challenges such as high costs and weak management still exist. Therefore, the government must closely monitor privatized companies and ensure a balance between profit and public welfare. Thank you for listening. That's all from us.